Hello, Team Haynes. We're back at it again, still studying online. Thank you for being respectful, responsible, and safe, valuing time, and supporting and negotiate. Shout outs to Nayland, shout outs to Zion, shout out to Ty, shout out to Gian, shout out to Camille, and so many more others of you. And actually, oh yeah, Serenity too, for getting your stuff done and turned into me and being very proactive. That's what Rockets do, especially if you're a part of Team Haynes. All right, so we have been talking over the past day or two about points. See you do it with me. Lines keeps going in both direction. It doesn't stop. Line segments. Stop. Stop. And raise keeps going in one direction and stops in the other. Notice what I've done here. Look at this line. I've drawn it horizontally and I've drawn it vertically. It's still a line. It's going in both directions. I can even draw it off at an angle. It's still a line. It's going in both directions. Notice that I've done the same thing with my line segments. Horizontal, off at an angle. And notice that I've done the same things with my rays. Still are those same things. Yesterday, before we ended, we talked about something called an angle. Say that with me. Angle. Angle. And you can jot that down on your paper, keeping your notes handy. So I told you yesterday, an angle is when two rays come together and share an endpoint. So I said yesterday before we left, our whole body is going to be the endpoint right here. And our arms are going to be the rays. So I have this ray, right? And then I have this ray. And they're coming together with this endpoint. And so I'm forming angles. I'm forming angles. I'm forming angles. So what does this look like if we draw it? So I've got this ray, put my endpoint, and I have this ray. They have the same endpoint. They have the same endpoint. So draw that for me. I've got ray 1, ray 2. They come together with the same, or let's get fancy because we use mature words, common endpoint. They share a common endpoint. And when they come together, right there at that endpoint, that is called a vertex. Say it with me. Vertex. That's the vertex right there. All right? Give you a minute to get it drawn. If you need to pause, stop and do it. All right. An angle, when I have two rays that come together with a common or the same endpoint. So you remember yesterday when we had a line, we said that this was line AQ. Line keeps going in both directions, and I've got A and Q are my points, so I could call this line AQ. If I had a ray, LM, ray LM. Draw my ray and LM. Remember we did that? Same thing with the line segment. Line segment CK. CK. Remember we did that? We labeled them. Well, guess what? We can do the same thing with our angles. All right? You didn't need to copy this down. It was just a review. But make sure you have that down. All right. So let's go on. I'm going to draw an angle. You draw that angle. And remember right here, they have to have that common endpoint. And this area is known as my vertex. Say that with me. Vertex. I drew my angle. Two rays came together and this is my vertex. Well, I'm going to call my vertex A. I'm going to put another point here. Call that C. Put another point here and call that M. So I now have angle MQ. M-A-C. Do it with me. Angle, M-A-C. So I could write that, angle, M-A-C. Kind of made it look like one of our greater than, less than signs a little bit, but that shows me angle, M-A-C. I think I may have said that wrong. Y'all know me. So angle, M-A-C. And my vertex is angle A. Making a little bit of sense? Let's try another one. If you need to stop to get caught up, do so. Ooh. I got a big one here. So in order for me to have an angle, I have to have two what? Two what? Two rays that come together and have a common endpoint, also known as my vertex. Say that word, vertex. In order to have an angle, I have to have two what? Two rays that come together, my endpoint, and have a common endpoint. Let's look at this. What's my vertex? What is it? Q, if you agree with me. Now wait a minute. What would I call this whole angle? I could call it angle Q. Yes, I know I didn't label everything on here, but I only had that one point on this angle. So it would be angle Q. Angle Q. Stop for a minute. Take in what we've done. Take in what we've done. All right. Let's try another one. Ooh, look at me. What did I put together? Two what? Two what? Rays. I put together two rays. When you put together two rays, it forms an angle. My common endpoint and my ray. That common endpoint is my vertex. Say it with me again. Vertex. Two rays. So I'm going to call this S. I'm going to call this R. And I'm going to call this T. What are these little dots I'm making called? Go back and remember, they're my points. What's the name of this angle? Write it down. Angle. T-S-R. T-S-R. Makes sense? Okay. I'm getting sneaky. You know me. What's the name of this angle? Yes, I know you're saying, but that is a line, Miss Hayes. That is a line. Yes, it is a line. It keeps going in both directions, but it is also known as a straight angle. As a straight angle. And we'll get into this more in depth, but I got to get your juices to flowing and getting you to thinking. So this straight angle, how could we name it? Angle what? G-A-B. Making a little bit of sense? I think that you got this. Okay? Uh-oh. One more. We've talked a little bit about this. I wonder who's going to remember this. Looks like the letter L. And it's got that box there. We talked about this. This is a right angle. Remember we said it looks like the letter L? And I think I told you that it's worth 90 degrees. 90 degrees. So let's look at this right angle right here. X, Y, Z. What's the name of this right angle? Go ahead and write it down on your paper. Write it down on your paper for me. Angle what? Right angle what? And we know it's a right angle because it has that box there. All right? Keep on practicing your angles. Get these notes down. And I will see you again on tomorrow. Remember, let your faith be bigger than your fear. We got this. Kiss your brains and say, I'm so smart. Until next time.